Thank you all for your fine testimony. I'd like to yield to my colleague from the House, Mr. Bartlett. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you all very much for your testimony. Mr. Hazelton, you mentioned some concern expressed to you about the contribution of statistics.
Yes.
It reminded me when I was working on my doctorate, and that was a long time ago. I got it in 1952. I came in one morning and my major professor, Norman Phillips, said, "You know, Roscoe, there are 3 degrees of liars." I said, "Sir?" He said, "Yes, there are liars, there are damn liars, and there are statisticians." So that was his view of the problem. When I got home last night, my wife called me and she said, "There's somebody on the phone with a very heavy accent that wants to talk to you." So I went to the phone and it was somebody from the BBC. And they said, "We understand that you're involved in a citizens' hearing in Washington, D.C. about extraterrestrials." And I said, "Well, that's not quite my perception when I accepted the invitation to come to be a part of this citizen hearing." And I thought to myself, this is a bit like the elephant and the 3 blind men. One of them felt its broadside and said, "Gee, this is a wall." Another felt one of the legs and said, "This has to be a tree." And another felt the tail and said, "This is a rope or a vine." And so what you think these hearings are about depends, I guess, upon your context and of your experience and what you had in your head when you came here. I knew before I came here that UFOs were a real subject. Unidentified flying objects. Even the Air Force, in their not very truthful fact sheet on closing down Project Blue Book, admitted that there were 701 unidentified. That's what a UFO is, an unidentified flying object. So even the Air Force admits that they're unidentified flying objects. My interview on the BBC last evening ended with my question: what are they? There's clearly something out there that cannot be explained as beams of light or swamp gas or hallucinations or anything. When more than one person sees it from different angles, when there is a radar track, this is real. This is not something that you can argue away. My hope is, as a result of this hearing, that the media will, even if they believe that this is all crazy, that everyone who believes in, now I believe in UFOs. I'm not quite there yet that they're extraterrestrial. Maybe that's because I'm a scientist, and I know that the closest possible place, I'm told, where there could be life is 37 light years away. What that means is, unless they have some way of communicating faster than the speed of light, it takes 74 years to ask a question and get an answer back. So obviously you can't be controlling something from that far away. Now, my forebears, not very long ago, since I am Anglo-Saxon, my forebears not very long ago were running around Europe in animal skins in a stone age. So I have to be pretty arrogant and presumptuous to believe that there isn't somewhere out there in this huge universe some civilization more developed than mine. And I note that we still have these stupid wars and kill each other. And there's got to be a civilization somewhere in this huge universe with 1 billion stars in our galaxy and 1 billion galaxies out there. There's the statistical probability that there is life somewhere else just has to be very, very high, doesn't it? I would hope that what comes of this hearing is that the press recognizes that here is an opportunity for some really interesting stories. There is reporting out there, and then after the reporting, what is the explanation of it? I'm sure the Air Force thought that they could explain away nearly 12,000 or 12,618 sightings. They explained away all but 701 of them. And there are a lot of sightings that, that are searchlights on clouds and that sort of thing. And so it would make very interesting press, I would think, to report these sightings and then to report the analysis of the sighting. What did it mean? So the press doesn't have to buy in to extraterrestrials. They don't have to buy in to any of this. They simply need to do what the press, I think, is supposed to do, and that is report what's out there. And why wouldn't this make, and they don't have to buy into the lunatic fringe. If somebody cites something, somebody cites something. Why not report it? Then we report the sighting. They don't report anything. You've told me about fairly recent sightings, Mr. Davenport. I haven't heard any of that in the press. Now, a number of years ago, there were mentions of that in the press. I mentioned the one time I was listening, I can't remember the year, it was quite some time ago, but you may be able to tell me what the year was by the confluence of the two events. One was sightings over New Mexico, and the other was a report that 2 people had died in New York City from what might have been psittacosis, and if it was psittacosis, it might have come from dried pigeon manure, so maybe we ought to kill all the pigeons in New York City. So I thought to myself, with that kind of logic, if I was out there from somewhere else watching us, I think I'd want to watch a little longer before I contacted these people. I hope that that's what comes of this. As I say, there are unidentified flying objects. I came here with an open mind. I'm not quite there yet that they're extraterrestrial, because I'm not sure how they would control things when the closest possible life, I'm told, is 37 light years away. Now, I couldn't imagine, my forebears couldn't imagine the iPhones of today. So clearly there may be travel faster than the speed of light. There may be ways to communicate that we can't begin to understand. But the phenomenon is real. They are here. There are thousands of reportings. And I will do everything I can. I think I have some credibility. I will try to do everything I can to convince the press that there's some interesting stories here. The story may be, this guy's really a wacko, isn't he? He's reporting these crazy things. But in any event, isn't there an interesting story to all of these sightings? There is something there. Why? Who has been successful in convincing the press that these are not reportable? It's supposed to be a free press, free country, the truth out there. Why isn't it? Thank you very much.